Hello, Normans. Welcome to this week's Norman News. I'm Noelle Trost here with Bennett Gershwin.
Thanks, Noelle. Stay tuned for more news on senior meetings. Seniors, there will be a mandatory senior meeting on Tuesday, September 27th and Wednesday, September 28th during 5th period in the Salter Theater. Tuesday is for last names A through K, and Wednesday is for L through Z. On Tuesdays, the 27th, A through K will report to the Salter Theater, and on the 28th, L through Z. We're going to be talking about college apps. How exciting! Worry not, fellow anxious kids. Some fun things will be discussed too, like cap and gown sizing, yearbook stuff, and dates of senior activities. Learn how to finesse the system. Learn all you can. The world is our oyster. Viva la senioritis! And now to Noelle with more news.
Thanks, Bennett. A month has come and gone, and as many of us have probably noticed, classes are getting a bit harder. If you are finding yourself in need of some academic help, well, you're in luck. Peer tutoring will be taking place Tuesdays and Wednesdays during lunch in the College Center. There, you can receive help from fellow students dedicated to tutoring with no prior arrangement necessary. We have a great group of kids that can help you in any subject, so don't be shy. For any questions about peer tutoring, contact Cindy Dubin at cdubin@bhusd.org. Now, back to you, Bennett, with some more news.
Thanks, Noelle. California is in its 5th consecutive year of severe drought. Not just drought, it's severe. Keep that in mind while you lollygag in the shower. The DWP has installed fake grass in lieu of their real grass, allegedly to reduce water consumption. However, it's been found that their water flow, specifically their sprinkler systems, have not slowed down. The water flow was so excessive that it flowed into the sidewalk and down the street. Richard Harisick, director of water operations at the DWP, said, "We're really just trying to wash out the dog pee." And now to Adam with health news.
Thanks, Bennett. Juan Martín Del Potro, the tennis player, has had 5 wrist surgeries now, and he hadn't played tennis for 3 years. That's until he beat my fellow Brit, Andy Murray. He has quickly risen his game to the level he was playing when he won the US Open, as has not shown any problems with his wrist or any other injuries, even though he just came back into tennis. I still wonder how he's not got injured yet. You're back, Juan Martín. And now to Eva with more health news.
Thanks, Adam. The 15th Summer Paralympic Games closing ceremony was held last Sunday, September 18th, after 2 weeks of competition in Rio de Janeiro. For the first time ever, there is a device inside all 2,642 medals that use tiny steel balls to make a sound when they are shaken, allowing visually impaired athletes to identify which type they won. The bronze medals have 16 steel balls and make the lowest sound. The silver ones have 20, and the gold have 28, producing the loudest noise. All of the medals also have the words Rio 2016 Paralympic Games written on them in Braille, and also feature engraved images of seeds meant to represent courage, persistence, and the development of the athletes.
12-year-old America's Got Talent winner Grace Vanderwall has won $1 million and a headlining spot in Las Vegas, but she's most excited that she's one step closer to getting her dream treehouse. Yes, that's right. Tween singer-songwriter spending her $1 million on a treehouse to get her on Pete Nelson's Treehouse Masters show. Quote, "I want to go on Treehouse Masters and I want to get a treehouse." She was congratulated by Pete Nelson himself and Reese Witherspoon on Twitter. But not only that, the young ukulele player was dubbed the next Taylor Swift, but is ironically a big fan of Katy Perry. Tease was his frenemy. She has a long career ahead of her, but until that takes off, her controversial win will be celebrated with a treehouse. Because what else would you do with that much money? Now to Andre with music news.
Thank you, Ben. Tickets for a Justin Timberlake show that was scheduled over 2 years ago sold out in less than an hour. The singer will lead the lineup of the Intimate concert series from radio station Capital FM, which will see many other renowned artists from across the globe perform for a small public. Tickets went on sale on 8 a.m. on the 15th of September, and fans were disappointed when no more tickets were available shortly before the first hour mark of them being sold. To those who were lucky enough to buy the tickets, they will have an amazing opportunity to see the artist up close and personal. The Crimea River star performs at London's Indigo at the O2 on October 3rd. And now back to Ben with our movie review.
Thanks, Andre. With an astounding 100% Rotten Tomatoes review, Bridget Jones's Baby set the bar high when it was released on September 16th. This movie is set in London, England, and is about Bridget Jones, who is played by Renee Zellweger, and her divorce with Mark Darcy, portrayed by Colin Firth. They're left over 40 and single again. Bridget's love life bursts back to life after she meets a handsome American named Jack, who's played by Patrick Dempsey. Life was great until Bridget takes a pregnancy test. The rest of the movie is about Bridget trying to solve the mystery of who the father of her baby is. The film is rated R and is in theaters right now. So tell me about your opinion on the 12-year-old winner of America's Got Talent.
I think that's amazing, man. I have no idea how kids so young are managing to go through all of that pressure, on the stage and going through it and winning it. That's amazing.
It's amazing. A lot of people are against her winning, though, because she's so young, and how she was up against a talented couple who were much older, and some people think that they deserve to win more than she did.
I actually became fan of the show just because of this kid, and now I'm watching it all the time.
Oh, really?
It's crazy, yeah.
That's great. So anyway, now to the Justin Timberlake concert. That's so unfair how all the tickets were sold out.
I know.
But tell me about that.
Well, it was an interesting proposal because the show was meant to a small number of people. So, I mean, yes, the tickets were sold really quickly, but the proposal was meant for a small number of people to watch it. So, yeah, I mean, maybe next time, right?
Next time, we'll go together. And now to Layla with World News.
Thanks, Ben. Recently, Oklahoma prison officials have discovered an escape hatch along with 18 cell phones, 87 phone chargers, 39 syringes, marijuana, and methamphetamine, a stimulant that can be used to treat ADHD and aid in weight loss. All this inside the state's halfway house. A halfway house is a shelter in which those of criminal, mental, physical, or emotional disabilities are housed. To learn a variety of skills so that they can reintegrate into society. The pathway that the prisoners had created was designed in order to escape and was made by the removal of drywall and the construction of a false wall. On Friday, when the discovery was made, the ODC, or Oklahoma Department of Corrections, were searching for weapons. The department says that the inmates would check in with security and then escape through the hatch. The shelter currently holds prisoners who are nearing the end of their sentence. And now to Leo with more World News.
Thanks, Layla. In this week's World News, massive riots in southern India have just closed with a violent state intervention, and a relative calm has been restored to the city of Bangalore. Protests began earlier this week over a water-sharing deal within the city. Bangalore does contain 2 rivers, however, they contain sewage, and the nearest river available for drinking water is more than 10 miles away from the city. As riots ensued, highways were destroyed, explosions reduced buildings to rubble, and casualties occurred as massive crowds clashed. Citizens fought employees and other workers who represented the shortage of water. The Indian government was forced to deploy staggering amounts of paramilitary forces, which were forced to fire shots in an effort to disperse the ongoing threat. 1 man was killed as he was trampled while attempting to flee from a group of local law enforcement officers. India is experiencing one of the harshest monsoon seasons it has had in decades. Rivers run dry, and water is split between the farms and the civilians' drinking water. With no new improvements in the system, government officials speculate that these riots are the first of many to come. And now to Alex with even more World News.
Thanks, Leo. President Obama recently emphasized the issue of climate change. Even though climate change might not be the top 1 priority for most people, it is one major pivotal point in determining the future. Because if most of the ice cap melts, which is already happening, major cities such as Venice, Hong Kong, Buenos Aires, and many more would be covered by water, forcing not millions but billions of people living on the attracting coast to relocate. That would cost trillions of dollars to operate such a massive and global trend. Therefore, President Obama tries his best at reducing and slowing down climate change as he views his endeavors towards that goal as his long-term legacy. It might seem far from now, yet the decisions we take each day ultimately will be reflected in the future. Indeed, scientists predict that if nothing slows down climate change, most of the ice caps will have melted by 2015. And now to Yasmin with oddities.
The photos, which included images of her on the toilet and even naked, were shared with her parents' 700 Facebook friends. The woman had asked her parents repeatedly in the past to remove the photos, but to no avail. When she turned 18, she was officially allowed to take legal action. The woman is seeking financial compensation and wants the photos to be removed from Facebook. According to the woman's lawyer, she has a good chance of winning. The Austria case will go to court in November, and if she wins, maybe I'll sue my parents for not liking my Instagram pictures. And now to Sophia with fashion news.
Thanks, Yasmin. As New York Fashion Week comes to an end, some designers are trying to go out with a bang. In the Christopher Kane Spring-Summer 2017 collection fashion show, Crocs have made their runway debut. You remember Crocs, right? These were the multicolored clogs that we all wore in 2007, but were seemingly banished by 2009 with the exception of a few daring people. Well, Christopher Kane, the notorious avant-garde designer, has decided to bring them back and make them better than before. Crocs' normally dull colors have been redesigned by Kane in a variety of marble hues and shiny finishes, studded with an assortment of stone studs. Run to your local Crocs store because before you know it, these may be sold out. And now to Austin with news on tech.
Thanks, Sophia. When Apple unveiled its new iPhone 7 last week, Senior Vice President of Hardware Engineering, Phil Schiller, called the device's camera one of the most advanced ever put in a smartphone. One of the first cell phones with a camera was the Nokia 7650, released in 2002. At the time, Nokia said the technology was going to usher in the multimedia messaging era. In comparison, the Samsung Galaxy Note 7, which launched last month, has a processor similar to that found in a laptop computer and has 853,000 times as much data storage space as the Nokia 7650. Software isn't the only factor improving in cameras in smartphones. For example, the earliest phone cameras lacked the ability to focus. Now smartphones can alter the position of the lens slightly using tiny motors and can also provide a wider variety of depths of field and better autofocus capabilities. Apple's imaging capability is pretty awesome, Sackle said, but it's not just the iPhone 6 that can produce these beautiful images. Other smartphone cameras can kick out a fab image as well. Now to Michael with more tech news.
Thanks, Austin. The Canadian firm D-Wave continues the development of their D-Wave quantum computers. Although we have barely scratched the surface of quantum systems, D-Wave is promising some new insights. If you don't know what a quantum computer is, it's a computer that doesn't use normal transitions and does not compute on zeros and ones, but instead processes qubits, which use the properties of quantum entanglement and superposition, which allow the computers to compute zeros and ones at the same time. This allows computers to perform optimizations, which normal computers cannot perform. The company is not the only one making quantum computers. Google and NASA are collaborating on making D-Wave systems as well. These new developments promise a bright future with faster, stronger, and more efficient technology. And now to Ben and Layla with a restaurant review.
Thanks. I think there should be a Jack in the Box planted right in the middle of Rodeo Drive. Believe it or not, but there are a lot of homeless people in Beverly Hills, so they can come here and have their meals off the money that they do have. Plus, if you're cheap like me and also like tasty, hearty food, Jack in the Box is for you. But some people will say it'll ruin Cheesecake Factory or Il Forneo and the Grill in the Alley's business. That's what people will maybe say that are residing in Beverly Hills. But who cares? This adds color, spaz, and most importantly, taste to Beverly Hills that has never been seen before. Now back to Noelle with some more news.
Thanks, Austin. For any of you Spanish speakers out there, the Spanish Club is now up and running. The first meeting was this past Tuesday, but that doesn't mean it's too late to join. Meetings are going to take place in Mr. Pajotto's cottage, room V23 on Tuesdays. In the club, you can learn all about Spanish culture, cuisine, music, festivities, and more. And if you're feeling a bit shaky about your Spanish skills, don't worry. The club is open to students of all levels. If you need any clarifications about the club, contact the club organizers, Sophia and Camilla, at bhclubespanol@gmail.com. Let's send it back to Bennett with more news.
Thanks, Noel. Trouble in Beverly Hills. The city will have to pay upwards of $9,000 in legal fees. The suit, filed by journalist Russell Carollo for the release of alleged domestic abuse records by Beverly Hills Mayor John Marish. The city paid Carollo over $9,000 in legal fees and also released unredacted records of the incident. And now to Shannon with this week's weather report.
Hi, my name's Shannon Binyamin, and you're watching this week's weekly forecast. On Friday, it'll be sunny with a high of 78 degrees and a low of 62 degrees. On Saturday, it'll be partly cloudy with a high of 79 degrees and a low of 63. On Sunday, it'll be sunny with a high of 84 degrees and a low of 64. On Monday, it'll be sunny with a high of 84 as well, with a low of 63 degrees. On Tuesday, it'll be sunny with a high of 83 degrees and a low of 64 degrees. On Wednesday, it'll be sunny with a high of 82 and a low of 64 degrees. And on Thursday and Friday, it'll also be sunny with a high of 83 degrees and a low of 65 on Thursday and a low of 64 on Friday. That's it for this week's weekly forecast. Thanks for tuning in.
That is all for this week.
Tune in next week for more Norman News.